We have an update now on trade and policy with our ag policy specialist, Dr. Amy Hagerman. Amy, let's kind of start with some of the big news bubbling around right now.
So right now the big news in terms of trade is two things. First is the Trade Promotion Authority expiring on July 1, this last summer. That's the authority that allows our trade representatives to go out and represent the United States for different kinds of bilateral or multilateral trade negotiations, like the negotiations that have happened with China in the past, which is the second big piece of news. The Phase 1 trade agreement with China began in January of 2020. It was only a 2-year agreement for how much product China was going to buy from the United States within that window of time. So it's just where we're at in terms of that agreement expiring and what we can expect in the future in terms of those exports.
So it's a good idea just to be aware that that is expiring and kind of what shifts may take place early next year?
Yeah, we don't expect a lot of big shifts. The reason being that just the broader economic factors in the world are very much favorable for trade. The United States is continuing to expand and enjoy recovery from the disruptions of 2020. A lot of other countries in the world are as well. And that increases the demand for U.S. goods, especially U.S. agricultural goods. We've seen very high levels of exports of products like cotton, dairy, soybeans, beef, pork, and poultry. We've also seen some changes in how agricultural exports are defined, which also now includes distilled beverages like whiskey, which are actually in very high demand in the rest of the world.
Let's talk about some of the other things that are on producers' minds right now as we look to wind down the year.
Yeah, I think certainly thinking about prices, thinking about our safety net programs and what we can expect in the next year. ARC and PLC payments just came out for the 2020 crop year. But remember, the 2021 crop year is based on the marketing year, so it won't end until well into 2022 for most of our crops. For example, May 31st for wheat is the end of the 2021 marketing year. So we won't know for sure what payments will be doing in those programs, but right now prices look very strong. And if those prices continue to hold at these higher levels, we probably won't expect to see much in terms of those safety net program payments for the 2021 crop year.
These higher crop prices are certainly very welcome news, but they're kind of offset with this added challenge of higher fertilizer costs.
Exactly. So whenever we're talking about profitability and taking into account the costs, our safety net programs are really revenue or price based. They don't really account for higher costs of production like what we're seeing with these very high fertilizer prices. So those are going to require other kinds of risk management, like looking forward and setting prices ahead in time, or other kinds of management in terms of the application on fields versus depending on safety net programs to manage that risk.
And that's why those records and strategy always so important.
Absolutely.
All of that planning.
Yes.
Well, thanks for the update, Amy, of course, and we'll see you again in a few weeks.